speaker. Anyway, thank you very much. This is misfortune that we have as many speakers as the listeners. So I would first of all invite all of you to be speakers so that we have 8 listeners and 8 speakers. This session is very interesting. Can incubation centers boost employability? Now, there are 2 issues involved: incubation, employability. I would add another issue: employment generation. While incubation centers may not give a boost to the employability, they can certainly boost employment generation. See, during the last 8 months, all of us have been excited on the promise of Achhe Din. And one of the promises of Achhe Din has been that in the country of 1 billion plus people, we would have maybe, taking Tarun Khanna's phrase, billions of entrepreneurs. See, if you look at our culture, for example, I worked half of my life in industry, the other half in academics, so I can blend the two and I tell you some of the mistakes that we may have made in the past. I remember, all of you would remember, the textile industry was nationalized. And nobody in the country questioned, look, if a private entrepreneur cannot run a textile company, how would the government run it? Government has that capacity to run it. And that is what happened. NTC ultimately became sick and gathered large amount of resources. I would get back to a very interesting ad that many of you would recall. So there is an old lady who is asking a village social worker, कि ये क्या काम तूने लिया है, लोगों को कहती फिरती है, बच्चे कम पैदा करो, बच्चे ना पैदा करो. So then she shoots back saying कि दादी यही काम करने वाला है, old time ago. I think they come full circle to say, tell every student of our institute कि भी entrepreneur बनो, काम करो, business शुरू करो, यही काम करना है. And that is the promise of incubation. See, as I mentioned to you, if you look at our history, I am going to our psyche. The tremendous potential of initiative, of leadership, of using the opportunity. Many years ago, one of my teachers told me strange story of India's entrepreneurial drive. He said, I was passing through a deserted area and there was suddenly a dhaba. They're not much. But how is this dhaba surviving? So I asked him, I had food and asked him, कि यहाँ पे कुछ काम तो है नहीं है. What are you doing? तो he says, सर यहाँ से 2 साल में एक सड़क निकलने वाली है. तो काम तो बढ़ेगा ना. Just imagine, this guy got the information that there is a project going on in this area, and he went there to set up in anticipation of something to come. That is this IQ. If you look I look every student as a potential entrepreneur. The only thing that we have done is in this country discouraged every possible person to enter business or to start business. And we have discouraged them so much through our bureaucracy, through the laws which are deterrent, through an ecosystem which doesn't exist. And that is the result today, that you have not many young people aspiring to be businessmen. I am glad that this trend is changing. There are some green shoots, as we call them. You hear in IIMs people not opting for jobs and opting to either join startups or 2 of them coming together to do a startup. I think there is a great promise of incubation center. So, in setting up an institute or running an incubation center on the campus, I would seek your inputs. I am not an expert. We are experimenting with setting up an incubation center. It is early in our life. We are only 6 months old, but we have started the process of setting up an incubation center. I'll briefly explain to you how we went about doing it. So we created large number of clubs and societies. We promoted large number of clubs and societies. Anybody who is interested in anything can come and promote a society. A teacher facilitator would be there, but the society would be run by the students. So there are few societies you would be surprised. One of them which I facilitate is called the strategists. So strategists are all the people who are aspiring to be millionaires before they graduate. So they are all the young aspirants bubbling with ideas, let us do this, let us start this. Similarly, there are other venture clubs where the possibility of including social, there is a society called social entrepreneurship. So these are all people who are alive to the social issues of water, energy. For example, one of the groups is looking at creating a lamp which is solar and inexpensive. So those kind of things. Now, the first question is therefore whether all, and I invite all of your contributions to it, whether it is possible for all educational institutions to set up an incubation center, one. Two, what it takes to set up an incubation center. Three, how do we run it? One question we have grappled, I am raising at fourth. So we were grappling with whether our incubation center should be for the students of the institute, of the university, or can be thrown open to anybody who wants to start some business. Fourth. And fifth is, how do we collaborate in the effort through ELATs or through our own whatever collaboration tool we decide today to set up a network of associations where we learn from each other what the incubation centers are doing, what kind of facilities are available, how are they tapping the support system, and so it is kind of promoting again, taking a cue from ELAT's knowledge exchange system. So I am very privileged to have with me one of the persons who is most apt to be in this session. I found in other sessions there were people who are not speaking on this session, but I am glad that there is one person who is most apt. I just met Mr. Satish Sharma, Chairman, Maharaja College of Engineering. So he started an organization himself in North in Punjab, expanded it, and then chose a different path to be in Rajasthan, Udaipur, where he heads a group of institutions. I have also one of the names associated with one of the richest Indians, Alan Mittal. So you have Professor Gokhale, Director of the L&M Institute of Information Technology, Jaipur. And we have Parul Agarwal also from JECRC University. She is promised not to be a speaker, but to be contributing listener. So all of you are invited to be contributing listeners. So I will first invite Satish to share his thoughts on or whatever experiences, his ideas, and maybe experiments if you have done any. Right. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much, sir. I think this session is why it is very close to my heart is because whatever I am experiencing, I would like to share to the August gathering. But some specific inputs I would like to give you on unemployment, why this is so, the current manpower, it is our youth, everybody talks about the 35 years average age, 27 years we will have maximum number of people with us. Then couple of data I'll share with you, what's happening the current with the unemployment, how can we really go for a solution of this, and ultimately whatever I have experienced in my life, I would like to share a couple of very good experiences which I am experiencing right now, and out of those couple of good projects, two of them already in the market means implemented, and 7-8 projects we are working with the students. I'm very thankful, Mr. Ravi, for inviting me. Since 3 years I'm keep on addressing any of the sessions on various topics. First, I quote a message which is given by Ban Ki-moon, Secretary General of United Nations. He said in his message that around the world there is a growing recognition of need to strengthen policies and investments involving youth people. Youth can determine whether era moves towards greater peril or more positive change. Let us support the young people of our world so they grow into adults who raise yet more generations of productive and powerful leaders. This is what we are focusing. Our Honorable Prime Minister is also focusing, and throughout the world everybody is focusing on youth. ILO estimates that nearly 75 million people are unemployed in the whole world today. Global youth unemployment rate is 12.7 in 2012, and their forecast is that by 2017 it will increase by 0.2%. It will be 12.9%. There is a group called Manpower Group, believes that accumulating changes represent a human age, apart from the industrial age, apart from the space age and information age, where the sources of value for the enterprises are the skills and talent embodied in the workforce, the ability to acquire, organize, and apply knowledge to solve problems. That means entire thing is revolving around the human manpower.
Sir, is it available on the PPT there?
No, PPT is not. Human talent has become more important.
What we can request you is to hand over your notes and maybe they can...
Yes. I'll now be specific to this. Sharing one thing with you is some of the Indian context that everybody knows that China is the fastest economy in the world and we are the number 2. But Morgan and Stanley says that 2015 end India would be the number 1 in the fastest economy as per the reports. It is surprising to me that 500 to 700 CEOs required in the next 2 years, 10,000 functional leaders who will be heading the groups in the functional areas, maybe finance, marketing or other areas, and million jobs will be available across all these sectors. I can name automobile, transportation, logistics, warehousing, packaging, travel tourism, media, retail and healthcare services. These are some specific sectors where a lot of manpower is forecasted. Retail will have its share 90%, textile and apparel has got another 90%, tourism 70%, and food and agro is another 70%. Like APJ Abdul Kalam, former President of India, says that it is not the unemployment that is a major problem in India. Rather, it is the question of unemployability, which is a curse and will affect the whole world, the competitive world. Now, what is the solution of this? Solution is very simple. In an article in Times of India where M.M. Palam Raju, our former Minister of HRD, says that how can we transform our institutions from center of knowledge dissemination to hubs of knowledge creation. And again he is focusing and watching to foster employment and unemployability. Mr. Minister discusses mainly about industry academia tie-up. Since morning we are talking about this. He further says that skilling youth, research parks, which we have very less in India. One research parks, I have visited the IIT Madras. They are doing excellent job in that research park. And he is specifically in budget says that there is an incubation fund. How much it is that? He initiated this scheme where 1 crore rupee will be provided for incubation center to set up on the campus, and this would be through AICTE. And another scheme, he talked about launching NEEM, N-E-E-M, that is National Employability Enhancement Mission. Through that, any society, /trust, / any company registered under 25, that non-profitable act, can apply to become a member of NEEM agent through again AICT, so that they can set up and they can bring out new research, new changes to feed the new generation which we call youth. Another national conclave which was inaugurated by present HRD Minister, Ms. Smriti Jubin Irani. She talked about again the same thing, that entrepreneurship, incubation and innovation, these are the three buzzwords which is going to work for youth unemployment, to eradicate unemployment and unemployability amongst youth. Creating a lot of SMEs. In India, what's happening? We are not really emphasizing on SME sector at all. In last week, I have attended SME Chamber of India's one conclave in Mumbai. Everybody was talking about take care of the SME sector. It is dying. If we don't take care of this sector, where the mass will go? We are only taking care of class, which has got 20% share in the economy. But where is the mass? People are in rural areas, people are in town, educationally backward, economically backward, socially backward. Now, how to really go for inclusive of that particular mass? The only solution is by creating SMEs, so that they get their work of their level. Let's say all small technical jobs, upgradation of our ITIs, upgradation of our polytechnics. Now I would like to share one scheme which is going to be launched by our Honorable Prime Minister in April end or May first week. It's a very new model. Like since morning we are talking about, as Dr. Saab has pointed out in the morning, Dr. Surendra ji, that where is the industry contribution? Now Prime Minister has made industry responsible for it. Now the project is skill development. He will invite facilitators like we people, you people, or anybody from working professionals. You come for a center. All students will be given by the government. 2,000 students per center, 10,000 rupees per student. That means 2 crore rupees 1 year revenue of that center. 1 crore for equipments and furniture, etc. Entire landed building will be provided by the government. Straight away from PMO's directives. The state is going to organize for you land and building. 1 crore by the central government, 2 crore by the central government as fee. Your job is just to train them. Now who will be the people? The people already doing ITIs, polytechnics, engineering, management, BCA, BBA, BA, BSc, BCom, hotel management, pharmacy. Everybody will have to undergo any kind of training which of their interest. Then the question comes, why he is investing so much on this? He says that the main grudge of the industry people is that we don't get the right people for the right job with the right skills. Now he says you become the auditor of the candidate. You will have to issue a certificate to that candidate of your stamp. Let's say we have in Udaipur, like I have one center and I have 50 students in hotel management. Oberoi is there. Oberoi people will come every 15 days in 3 months training 6 times. That they will say yes. After 15 days, they will, in the first day, they will provide us one syllabus. I need 10 people in front office, 10 people in food production, 6 people in housekeeping. And based on their requirements, we are, as a trainer, we are going to complete their training skills. Teaching them, making them aware about those skills, learning them, making them learn. So they will come after 15 days, make the audition of that, and after 3 months, they will issue the certificate. Now, gentlemen, can you say that a certificate issued by the Oberoi with a proper audited, with a proper scanning, with a proper supervision, can anybody below Oberoi will deny a job to that gentleman, to that candidate? Nobody. Although they are taking the whole responsibility, since they are making them learn, they are just giving them that certificate for their own sake only, for their industry only. Now, where is the gap? There is no gap, because industry is getting what they ask, what they require. what we are giving training, what the industry requires, and the governance model, the government's role, very positive role, what they can do, they can give us finance and other things. Now this is the, I think, in coming future, we can overcome many things by way of doing this kind of centers across the 6 states in the first phase, then another 6 states in the second phase. Rajasthan, Gujarat, Haryana, Uttarakhand, Jammu Kashmir, Himachal. These are the 6 states in the first phase. Rest 6 states will be taken up in the next phase. Another some of findings, Telangana is a new state. It is a news to everybody that they have formed the very first Dalit incubation center. The CM of Telangana, he introduced last month only that India's first Dalit incubation center. The initial corpus he has kept is 5 CR, promised to prepare 200 Dalit startups through this center. 22% land will be earmarked for Dalit enterprises in the industrial zone SEZs, and preparing 200 Dalit contractors for the government jobs, maybe in irrigation, maybe in road and buildings, maybe in Panchayati Raj work. All those 200 contractors will be given job part of the government projects. Mr. Adi Godrej granted scholarships roughly around 1 lakh members from SC/STs to make them uplifted. Minister of Commerce Nirmala Sitharaman said the public procurement policy of getting 20% from SMEs, including 4% again from Dalit businesses, with effect from 1st April 2015. And everything they are doing it to just make the financial and social inclusion of the society of the lower masses. Now, one more information is, one industry called Priya Industries, their case study is very nice as part of the academic collaboration front. They talked about that preparing engineering professionals for the world full of changes, ensuring that students will be well equipped for dynamic successful career. They have some of the purpose I would like to share with you. All students will be technically trained under the umbrella on different technology used, different companies, be experienced engineers. All candidates can do real industrial training with the campus. After completing technical training, students will be shortlisted to work with the service sector with in campus, and they will get stipend rupees 5,000 to 7,000 rupees. All students will be honored by the training certificate. Job will be away from the student, as company will provide guaranteed employment, minimum 30 students out of 200 each year, and rest candidates will be sent to associated companies. They have found out that students will be polished in some of the incubation center, embodied solar technology, automation, PLC and SCADA, circuit transmission, all these networking, all these technical engineering firms. Now in the last phase of my presentation, I would like to share very small projects which we have experienced in my campus. In 2009, I thought of as a, let's say, Dr. was talking about the incubation association, like we thought of that how many students would get placement. I confess in front of the August gathering, we are not really teaching classes, we are teaching masses. We have a son of a farmer, we have a son of a peon, we have a son of a officer, we have a son of a teacher. So the kind of background they come from government schools, they come from public schools, they come from CBSE, they come from Rajasthan board. Now how to make them at one platform, how to bring them at one level of standardization. The only thing was, everybody, we cannot really push them for placement in as employee, so we made a mission that why not to convert as employer. So we started this mission, convinced couple of students, and just sharing two very good projects. One project is a very simple, dry cleaning shopping. Dry cleaning shop is name, we have all the project's name and a tagline, so that it catches the client as well as the whole world. The project name is Tiger, White Tiger, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. It's been already implemented in Pune. Two of the students, they invested just 1 lakh rupees, 3 from my side and 1 from their side, and 7 lakhs been already got the financed from the bank. 10 lakhs machine installed outskirts of the Pune with a shaded area having a rent of 10,000 rupees per month. And they visited in the part of survey and collected 500 clients in the first phase. Gentlemen, in 2 years, those 2 students, now they have 5,000 clients, 20 items, 20 clothes per family, per membership they have. You can multiply 5,000 into 20, and per piece they are just charging rupees 5, including washing and ironing. So this much volume they have collected in 2 years. Both the students, now they are earning more than 1 lakh rupees. First they been feeling shy that now we will become a dhobi. I said it's not a question of dhobi, it's earning of your own dignity. You earn yourself and create 5 more support 5 more families. They are very happy. Now they are extending this facility to Gurgaon. Same franchisee. Again, Udaipur is a belt where Makai maize is full of area. All poor people, they grow maize. No water, no pesticide used. It is the all slopey fields, small pocket fields. They just put the, after rain, they just plow it and put the seed in it. It will automatically grow, they cut it and sell it in the market. You know what was the, can anybody tell me what is the per kg price for a 1 kg papad of Lizzat? 150 rupees. Roughly. Rather more. Let's say 200 rupees per kg.
So you have 30 rupees tax, which is 100 grams, around 300.
300 rupees. 300 rupees. Maybe I'm quoting the 2 years back. 2 years back, we have started this project. I personally went with 10 of our students to Goa, and we saw there is a huge industry, the liquor industry, the bars, and that particular taste. I invited the 5-star chef. Please give us a recipe of 4 types of papads. He gave us 1 garlic based, 1 red chili based, 1 green chili based, and 1 jeera based. Simple papad. 4 papads where the material is given. Makai is hardly 12 to 15 rupees kg from the local farmers. We are supporting them, buying their crop directly, making it fresh, giving to Chakkiwala, getting the flour. Flour is given with the recipe and all material to the SHGs. All old ladies sitting in village, no work during 6 hours. It's very good, nice place. We prepare that place, maybe a small hut. They put all these handmade papads. They pack it and send it to Udaipur. From Udaipur, we send it to Mumbai. Mumbai, there is a small in Vasai. We have kept a logistic part. From Vasai, from train to Goa. We have just taken 100 kg papads. Estimated that after 10 days, we will see what is the result. In 2 days, if you just if you eat that papad with the drink part, all bar people said, we need this flavor, we need this flavor. And now they have a huge business in 2 years. Can you imagine how much kg papad is, exhausted in Goa? More than 1000 kg in 1 month. Small, and what is the cost? Cost is hardly 50 rupees, including everything, and we have kept just 70 rupees per kg. Why not they will buy? It is a kind of a sponsored or a kind of a product which is given free with the liquor. Now everybody likes how much they can give. So this project, again, it is a part of our MEN means Maharaja Entrepreneurial Network. This is a cell of my college, and other many projects are in the pipeline. In every company, I invest 33%. We the partner with the students in the initial year for their confidence level, for their economic to support them, and then if their wish is to include me or to give me an exclusion. In the 2 companies, I still enjoy 33% share. and two of the students, they enjoy 33, and my also 33, and hardly that both the companies, they have paid off the entire loan to the banks, and now enjoying a lot of autonomy, lot of financial enjoyment. And some of the students, they are talking about now we can come down to your campus and we need more and more people for our survey in Gurgaon. This is what we require, gentlemen. Make people convinced, change the mindset. It is the mindset only that all these kind of incubation, innovation, and entrepreneurial things, if for the students we try to implement in our campuses, I think we can do wonders, because this kind of manpower we never thought of in the past. Since our independence, no government, no private sector has come forward and convinced that we require more and more entrepreneurs. But entrepreneur is an entrepreneur is an entrepreneur. No definition changes anywhere and across the areas. Thank you so much.
Glad that the panel is focused on the issue that has been given to us. So by the end of the session, and we intend to close in another 20 odd minutes with your participation, maybe another 5 minutes. See, there are opportunities he has mentioned, but apart from these opportunities, there are also opportunities in the tech area. So here is a project which is not located on the campus. The other model is also relevant, where we create some kind of facilities. For example, what we were thinking was create a office space, a technology kind of technology-driven enterprises. So given office space, there is support from the faculty. There is support. There is facility or support from the students to do projects at low cost and then work out something. I think it is very nice that this project, and I think here is an example of actually a gentleman who is backing it with that confidence that I will contribute 33%, and also a buyback offer. If you don't want to continue me with your project, you are welcome. So this money can be then used to back up others. So there are two issues which have come in. One is there is no doubt about the opportunity. All of us know India is a happening country, and there is a very popular book. I recommend Satish to share it with every student in fact all of you. The name of the book is All Streets Are Paved with Gold. So this is written by C.W. Park for the Korean youth, and Park says he was a newspaper vendor. From a newspaper vendor, he set up a billions of dollar enterprise, which later collapsed, but that's a different story. Now, how at the end of the book he says, in my life I found that there are all streets which are paved with gold. So my job was what? My job was only to collect the gold that was lying spread on the streets. I think it would be a very good idea. My suggestion is, now, question which I have for you is, what are the enabling conditions that we create in our institutions which can lead to the creation of incubation, whether on the campus or off the campus? So I'll expect some inputs from your side, and I have the pleasure of inviting now Dr. Gokhale from the LNM Institute of Information Technology. Thank you.
I am Gokhale. I am a director of LNM Institute of Information Technology. Before coming over here, I was at IIT Madras, so I am fully familiar with IIT Madras research part, because at the formative stages I was there. I had also set up two business incubators, one in NIT Kozhikode and another one is in VNIT Nagpur. In VNIT Nagpur we have got a CIVN, which is Center for Innovation at Vishweshwaraya National Institute of Technology, Section 25 company. We have formed it in 2012 and I am on their board of directors. I am familiar with incubation per incubation's sake, and we have been able to do reasonably well in terms of getting recognition. In 2007, VNIT Nagpur was awarded by the Ministry of Small and Medium Scale Industry an award. I'm going to take a little bit of controversial view. I'm going to be the devil's advocate. And now again, the same sort of a thing. We have again disagreed.
IT health.
I got it. Okay. Incubation, wiki definition is spelled out over here. In my opinion, incubation is not a startup. It is an entirely different type of a thing. Incubation is something which is entirely new, and I believe that this is a concept that has come into being only in the 21st century. I will give you the reason why I am saying what I am saying. So there is a dream incubation, egg incubation, incubation psychology, incubation period, and incubator culture. So you have a whole lot of definitions that are available to you. Basically, it is layers and urges to go beyond. I am just going to take this is again a little bit of academic stuff. So what is the discovery? Incremental knowledge, physical, biological, and social. Knowledge could be theoretical, empirical, or practical. And incentive, you would be able to have fame, praise, peer recognition, and so on and so forth. After the discovery, you get invention. These are new devices, processes leading to patent that add economic value. From steam engine to spreadsheet, all are put into the invention category. And incentives are intellectual property right, copyright, trade secrets, national and global security, and so on and so forth. The last one of it is innovation, technology plus business processes, better way of doing things for profit maximization, political analytics, election surveys, lifestyle changes, e-business, e-governance, etc. Incentives, better performance, transparency, accountability. McKinsey and Accenture earn massive profits by identifying areas to promote innovation. The strategies are for the innovation, it could be improvisatory, that is basically trial and error. Or for the invention, it would be separation with a formal setting, such as IBM and Intel Labs. They do only that. And then there is, of course, frugal and risky research. So, all these things, in my opinion, are important, if you are going to talk about incubation. Because as I said, I'm making a distinction between incubation, incubating, you incubate the seed, and the seed grows into a tree and so on and so forth, So there is a completely new revamped process. So frugal research getting more in terms of performance for a less in terms of resources for more number of people, and this is Mashirkar's definition about frugal research. Essential in the emerging market economies such as India, and it is envisaged that 66% of economic growth in next 5 years will be from emerging economies. This is from the European Union. And some of the examples of it is the nano park, which has got about 400 patents, low-cost housing, healthcare, and so on and so forth. I have given you the link by which you will be able to get better handle over the frugal research. And then what is risky research? Unknown, for finally space is the final frontier. You explore, go over there. Physical risks are there, security, cultural context, research participants, relationship, nuclear safety, etc. Emotional risk, fundamentalism, impact of war and terrorism, reputational risk, suppose if something goes wrong, the global warming parameters or the glacier melting parameters, they were questioned, after the initial data was established and so on and so forth. So risky research outputs are essentially advancing knowledge potential to transform worlds, create new fields, sharing stories, output formats, etc., etc. New medicine, new mediums, social, political implication. And then there is a question about having this particular climate for innovation. The question is raised, as an academic institution, what would be my responsibility, to start an incubation center. my job is to give the knowledge and the skills, how and who is going to adopt that particular knowledge, and when and where, is left to the essentially to the user. I could be a facilitator, and to that extent, I could be having this particular technology business incubation that I am talking about. So you need resources, idea time, idea support, challenges and involvement. You need a personal motivation, trust and openness, playfulness, humor, absence of interpersonal conflicts. Then exploration, risk-taking, debating about issues, freedom. This is from Goran Ekwal. He is a psychologist, from Sweden, and in mid-70s, this was the proposal that he made. So for the climate for innovation, you create diagrams such as this, where all the parameters that we talked about, conflicts, risk taking, challenges, freedom, idea support, trust, dynamism, playfulness, then debates, etc. And then what would be for the innovative, what would be average, and what would be for the accelerated type of a thing. So when you are going to start this, you need to essentially apply your mind in where you stand. So what is the business plan? I want to become a entrepreneur, or I want to start from the incubation and then become an entrepreneur, right? So you got to have a business plan. Business plan is essentially ideas, problems, and the possible solutions for that. Analysis, you got to do it, collect the data, research and survey, revenues, financial and valuation. Previous speaker Sharma, he was mentioning, saying that when he went to Goa, he found out, that this is the requirement, that is the market research. Revenues, financial and valuation, team building is required, so from 2 to 20 to 200 to 2000, how you will be able to build it up. Exit plan, buyout, venture capital, sellout, merger, and what is the success ratio. This is the last point, that I wanted to a little bit spend time on. When we set up the business incubation centers, in NIT Kozhikode, at that particular point in time, DST has funded it. When we set it up, in VNIT Nagpur, it was Rajiv Gandhi Science Technology Commission as well as the Department of Information Technology. You need money. Academicians or academic institutions cannot isolate some money and keep it idle over there. What we were doing is that we were essentially facilitating these people, the incubators, basically our former students, and the idea was to provide them with the space, give them the equipment, give them all the knowledge resources that are available, give them the benefit of consulting with their senior teachers and so on and so forth. Generally, in both these places, we had made a statement saying in 2 years, you should be able to either fly or you should essentially close that particular project. It's our estimate, that suppose if I take about 10 such incubation ideas, into our fold, even if we succeed in 2, we would be patting on our back. I have an article, which appeared some time ago in the BBC, and that particular article says, most of these incubations or entrepreneurship type of initiatives that you take, they die down in 5 years. Quite a few of them, they die down in 5 years. This is the reality. This you have to take it into account, and then you have to factor it in. Right now, the incubation or the incubated ideas, they have prospered phantomly. Flipkart, basically they are in the e-governance mode, Ola, Meru, cabs and carwalas, and all those people. Incubation, suppose if you go into the hardcore engineering part of it, there are very few. Okay, and I'll continue with the next one. Jamshedji Tata, 1839 to 1904. He was working with what? He was basically a tradesman. Started a Empress mill in Nagpur, which makes cotton. Tata Steel in Jamshedpur, Taj Hotel in Mumbai, IISC and TIFR, in Bangalore. Khopoli hydroelectric power station to supply the electricity. And you try to tell me, what sort of a common theme you have in it. Was there any particular incubation idea with which he started? or he grabbed it basically because there was an opportunity and somebody has to do it, so he did it. These are diverse fields, these are not ones or twos, he hit it off, unfortunately before he was no more, he was able to succeed it only in one, but notwithstanding that, from clothing, to the environmental concerns that you are talking about right now and making a big noise about it, the Khopoli hydroelectric was essentially in that particular direction, So here is that particular focus that I am talking about, And then finally, it led to Tata Tea, Tata Chemicals, Air India, TCS and so on and so forth. Ultimately, where does it come down to? TCS is having the largest employment right now in the IT sector, right? Should I be attributing that particular thing to the germinated seeds of Jamshedji Tata? Something for you to think about, The next one. These are project-driven or successful mission-driven Indian projects, and these are all Indian projects. White Revolution. Quite a few of people who are over here, they are in the Maya Jainer. So in the mid to late 50s and early 60s, if you are in Bombay, and if you are going out somewhere, you would be asking, your neighbor would be asking, can I have your RA milk bottle? Just for those 2 or 3 days, you would be using that milk, Right now, you have paneer in almost anything that you can conceive about. Output of your milk, massive milk production, right? Green revolution, they required in the mid 60s, for the ensuring the food security. Blue revolution, Indian Space Research Program, in early 70s, and people still make a lot of noise about it, The first rocket was essentially carried on a bullock cart, and people make fun of it, What was the incubating idea in all these things? Was there any? And are these projects successful? And employment wise, are they, way too beyond in small little things that we are trying to do? In my personal opinion, incubation is today, suddenly people have realized it, and I have some explanation for that also, This is from United States, can do unconventional companies, Mexican burrito chain with a vast support network of family and friends, country of immigrants bringing in new ideas and growth in jobs. Chinatown, you go to United States, almost all the metros they have got a Chinatown. They went over there, they established themselves. Develop and transfer technology from University Entrepreneurship Company, Stanford, John Hopkins, MIT helped to develop Da Vinci surgical system. So when we were doing it in VNIT Nagpur, we exactly tried to do the same sort of a thing. We were developing the technology. As an academic institution, that is my priority. Okay, my priority is not to run any sort of entrepreneurship. I myself am a CEO of my institute. Addressing all these complexities and so on and so forth. And still, I am setting up business incubation parks, wherever I can, with a question mark and an exclamation mark saying, I might be successful, I might not be successful. It doesn't matter really. So in VNIT Nagpur, we were getting money, from Khadi Village Industries Commission and so on and so forth. We were doing small little things like bar vending machines, which are used, for civil construction activities. Then the mosquito coil making machine, We were developing the technology, and then we were giving it to somebody, to start that particular thing, because that gentleman or that person, he was not in a position to think about it in a technical terms, In optimization terms also, he was not. That was my competency. So I, as a scientist, I developed something, I transferred it to somebody, and then it started. The best example of this type of industry academia interaction, is Stanford University and JPL lab, Jet Propulsion Lab, right outside Stanford. They have a phantom type of a thing. Exactly similar sort of a thing has been replicated in IIT Madras. That research park is really the state of the art type of a thing. I'm also aware, because for nearly 30 plus years, I was with MHRD and central government, so I know about all the intricacies about who was going to set what and so on and so forth. Alright, so this is what we were trying to figure it out. Technology innovation cluster, dense wave of technologies, companies, suppliers, customers remain interconnected, strong IP connections, liberal immigration law, good weather, entrepreneurial culture, geographic connectivity. Silicon Valley numbers 1. And in Silicon Valley there are nearly 1/3 Indians. Bangalore is 8th in this particular list. And what do they have? They have right talent mix, activity clubs, open coffee clubs, startup Sundays, bar camps, mobile Mondays. This is the need of the modern or the younger generation. Call it Gen X, Gen Y. But when you provide them with this type of a sort of a culture, suddenly things start happening. This is now for the entrepreneur. Essentials of entrepreneurship, I think all of you are aware of it, I will skip it. Basically, a certain degree of attitude, skills and knowledge are required. Employability, key attributes, personality, work ethics, confidence, self-esteem, motivation, handling work-related stress, professional aspects, knowledge, relevant skills, learning ability, lifelong learning, problem solving, planning and execution, technology adaptation and so on and so forth. Again, employability, there is some other additional thoughts about it. Understanding skillful practices, efficacy, beliefs and so on and so forth. Incubation and employability, because this is the theme on which we are supposed to be meeting over here. Entrepreneurial and innovation spirit is a must, if you are going to do anything. Provide fertile ground for skill acquisition and demonstration. Quick adaptation to the fast changing world through the steep learning curve that ensures shortened gestation period. The point that I am making over here is that, let us say that you incubated one company. Are you going to be satisfied with it? Or are you going to take it further? The entrepreneurial spirit, generally it should be a 7-year itch. After every 7 years, you feel, I must do now something different, and you should start doing that, So, if you go through this particular path, then the next project that you are going to do, you will be able to do it much quicker. Incubation success will depend on the culture, which is internal to the system, and network connections, which is external to the system. Do I have friends outside? There are well-defined processes from incubation to employability, such as pilot, then prototype, testing, marketing and commercializing, etc. It is not direct coupling, I have incubation and then I have employability. It doesn't happen like that, You got to go through the process. In each stage, requirement of or deployment of human resources would be different. Incubation invariably would be done by 1 or 2 people. Right? The finance part of it is an entirely different issue, but the germination of that particular idea is something which is going to come from 1 or 2 people, This will not be comparable to fully grown, matured company, such as whatever we are talking about. So why am I a little bit on a defensive, or why did I take this particular stand? Having set up 2 technology business incubation centers, in academic institutions, and both of them are doing pretty well. I'm very proud about it. In Nagpur, whatever we have been able to do, we are developing orthopedic and medical implants. And what I try to tell it to you, because we have rapid prototyping machines, so we have a tie-up with the hospitals in Nagpur city, and then we get a wireframe modeling. We get the material. You name the material, and we are able to make the plant. The implant, it could be orthopedic implant, it could be dental implant, and we have been successful. What is the fallout of that? That is what is important for me. Presented this particular work in MIT, and they were pretty thrilled, Now we are working on the tissue engineering. That is next level, and so on and so forth. I will close it by giving you one very simple, not simple, but something which is fairly interesting story. In early 80s, when I returned from United States, I was working in IIT Madras. So I saw a newspaper ad, saying, that grand sweets and snacks, in Adyar. That was close by, it was walkable distance, so myself and my wife, we went over there, It was an old man, it was his house, and there were a couple of Godrej Almiras and so on and so forth, This gentleman, he had tried his hand on 6 different projects at one particular point or time, and he failed. Finally, he tried to convince his wife, saying, this is the last attempt that I would like to make, allow me. And from handloom to sari making to whatever, and he failed in almost everything, So this was the last attempt that allowed me to do it. So we went and walked in, and then we said, that so we came here to buy sweets, So what type of sweets you have? He asked me, where am I coming from? I said, I'm from Bombay. He asked my wife, where do you come from? She said, I'm from Agra. He closed the almirah, saying, you would not like my sweets, I said, why don't you allow me to decide about it rather than you deciding, So we ate, okay. Cutting the long story short, this was 1983. 1987, he appeared in the New York Times as one of the best sweetmeat shop in India. In less than 4 years, he was successful, Incubation, yes, because it was not over there. Took care of it, single point type of a thing. He grew and he made a really nice little impact, and I was very, very happy. Even if you go right now, to Madras, if you check it in Adyar, the grand sweets and snacks, everybody would show it to you. That's the quality, and that is a brand name, brand equity, and so on and so forth. Incubation is desired. In the modern day context, it definitely is desired, because it connects somewhere with the unemployment rate and so on and so forth, But then again, if you try to figure it out, how many of them are in the structured government format and how many of them are in the unstructured format, you would notice it, that it is very difficult choice, Thank you very much and very good evening to you.
I'm working as Dean, School of Management, JCRC University. Well, it was very, very enlightening and enriching session today. And beautifully the thoughts came up that the need of the hour is to set up incubation centers. When we see Indian population at a glance, 50% of our population is below 25 years of age and 65% is below 35 years of age. Now, do PSUs are sufficient to employ them? No. We need to do something for the employability of all these so many population. So the answer is we have to do something, and that private players only have to do eventually. Now Professor Sharma came out with very beautiful analysis. He spoke about MSMEs, and I reinforced the same thought that we need to set up small units. Then he spoke about the training centers which we can set up in our universities, in our institutes. Then it was beautifully quoted by him, the example of Priya. And the chairperson also reinforced his thoughts, and Dr. Gokhale, he came out with all the requirements for the incubation center and what innovation and creativity and research work should be taken up by the universities and institutes. Well, it's my personal observation. I was working earlier as Dean Delhi Business School. So there, we had set up incubation center, and small, business units were set up for the students, and they were providing salads, cocktails, and all that at a small level. But later on, I realized when they got very good jobs, so they left those business units, and then we were, in a very awkward situation. So I personally feel that the mindset of the students has also to be changed to take up the small business units and to understand themselves as entrepreneurs of tomorrow. I personally feel that when I had visited City some time back, I spoke to the general manager, Mr. M.K. Sharma, So he was saying that only incubation center at IIT Kanpur is doing well. Otherwise, IIT Delhi is also not doing so well. So I have some questions, and I would like to ask all of you, means what is lacking, and do we need to change the mindset of the students? Because whenever they get a good job in a multinational, then they want to quit. So because I have some observation, so I was wanting to know from you what should be done, because we would be setting up the incubation centers right from the second year of engineering or third year of engineering. Okay, thank you.
All of you to put your thoughts together. There are questions. For example, all of us think incubation is desirable. Setting up an incubation center is?
Yes.
Okay, so agree. Now the next question is, how do we go about doing it? So there are two questions that we discussed. Some of the engineering colleges can, one college I know in Ludhiana, set up an entire shed where they allowed the students to set up their small machines and a common office facility. Those days fax was something big, and therefore they installed a fax machine and then some sitting and common conference tables. So this is one. Whether engineering institutes particularly should set up an incubation center with manufacturing facilities on the campus, or we should try to do something which is not as messy as setting up a workshop. It is easier to set up something in technology area. For example, Internet of Things is a happening place, and a lot of possibilities are still there on the internet space. So do we allow or create facilities, common facilities like office space, internet and things like that? How do we provide access to the faculty, to the people who are working on the incubation center? Coming to Paru's question, see, once a student puts in money, he has a stake. So there are two possibilities. Question is, even if he goes out of the enterprise, he's become an entrepreneur. So he will work in the organization as an entrepreneur, as we call them, intrapreneurs. So large organizations also need to grow. They also require people who take the business forward, who bring in new ideas, and so that mindset, if it is created, will continue to be performing there. But the larger question of leaving things in between means simply that somebody else in the ecosystem takes over. So you have a stake which either you sell at a profit or sometimes you sell at a loss, but that is what happens. I think these are some questions. I invite, I think Dr. Mukherjee has a point, this one.
Those are interested to understand the TBI working, I think. But it is obviously when the college started with a one core they spent to build up the whole building. And then of course, whole money of course has came back. Research sustaining, institute doesn't pay single penny. And we have a 33, in 6 years, 33 incubate. It is only for the students. No outsider are encouraged to come. Absolutely our students. And it is a 33 incubate company was started. Out of that, 18 has already has moved out as a successful. Now 13s are working, and this is all working on the high-tech area. It's not working like a small thing like here and there.
Do you have a separate dedicated incubation center?
Independent building, independent staff, everything, self-sustaining. And the funding has been, first of course the DST has given the fund, seed money.
Seed money.
So seed money, college doesn't pay anything to them. Okay, that all incubation company pay everything, from the room rent to the internet charges, so everything they pay. And whenever we pay the 3 lakhs or 4 lakhs as a seed money, so the money they have to keep it back. So a lot of precaution was taken, like the parents were also involved to make sure the money doesn't get lost up, that sort of thing. But yes, successes are there because it's not that they are mostly working on the embedded area. They're working with something like automatically when they say the sunlight change होते होते automatic switches बंद हो जाएंगे.
Okay.
So this type of the project they have already given to the Gorakhpur municipality, so they are giving like that. So there are also systems they have developed whenever the water tank comes in at a certain level, automatically it gets stopped. So all they are talking on basically on the electronics related area, because that is what that is worked on. I invite you to come and see that the things that the team are working. But of course, existing year students, because mostly the students who are working, those are the passing out students. In the final year they come, so that. But from the second year onwards, because in the campus they see that the ex-students are working, developing their project, going to market and selling it out. Project are something that moved out in the city, their own businesses. So that only gives the encouragement to do something. But of course, we make sure that money doesn't get lost, because once you get the money has to come back. So that we make sure.
Well, there is a
So parents we make as one of the partner whenever they got the money we give to the city.
So there is a possibility.
And also there is a lot of, when some project comes, we also get a lot of project we give to the MSME, a different Ministry of Energy, renewable energy, other industry, and we accordingly get a fund from there also. So money is not an issue, but sometimes the project get funded a little bit, some money they give, some money doesn't give. So money is not a question, but now question is if you say 5,000 students, why only 13? 13 including company means 13 into 4, only 52.
Yeah.
So if you see that number, if you look like it's not that. But even the question, our I think happiness is that successful things happen. The failure rate is 0. So that is more important than the volume and more number of people.
Oh, that is failure rate 0 is very, very inspiring.
So that was
Possibly two things. One, to spread this word, you have to have more systematic interaction between the students and the incubation or the young entrepreneurs who are running the incubation center. Professor Singhal was also running it.
My just comment was, I think very good ideas have students, especially entrepreneurs, can take up their programs and continue with them. One more thing that in most of the universities in the United States, they have got academic industrial parks.
Yeah.
And for academic industrial park, because we are coming from education institutions and we have got at least few faculty members who are research oriented. We cannot include all of them, but we can isolate and identify those persons who are research oriented. We can take up the problems of industry and we try to solve them, involve our students in those problems. I think that will be a good idea, because here what we are doing is, we are just asking them to find some business for themselves. That is not our aim.
I agree.
Our aim as an academic institution, our aim is to go ahead in the field of academic activity through research, and that can also only be possible, and these academic industrial park can be established with the help of industries also. So industries can put up, we can work for them and for their problems, and we solve their problem, give it to them, and meanwhile with the same facility we can help others.
Two things come to mind. If there is any.
So I have two things, and it's really means everybody would like to enjoy. First thing, I would like to tell one book, that is Stay Hungry, Stay Foolish, written by Rasmi Bansal. It's a success story of all IIM pass out students from Ahmedabad. They left jobs and they started their business, and now they are earning in crores. That is the success story. And one more thing, we experimented with our first year student that I would like to share with you. You can say हमने उसको चैलेंज दे दिया कि आप ड्यूरिंग वेकेशन कुछ करो, अर्न समथिंग. 1 महीना टाइम है आपके पास, you do something, do some business to get the money. And very beautiful thing they did, they had one shop. शॉप के ऊपर बड़ा सा नाम लिखा मफत फोटोकॉपी, free of cost photocopy. You won't believe. There were 3 friends. At the end of 1 month, they earned 1 lakh rupees. everybody was in queue to get the Xerox copy. How they earn money, now it is beautiful. They get advertisement from industry. पेपर के पीछे साइड में एडवर्टाइज रहेगा, फ्रंट साइड में फ्री कॉपी. सब लोग जाते थे वहाँ जेरोक्स निकालते थे, पीछे में सब इंडस्ट्री की एडवर्टाइजमेंट रहते थे. So it's a really beautiful thing that I would like to share with you people. So I would like to, especially Parul madam, if you want to create entrepreneur, you just let them free, do something, don't give them any idea, do something, then definitely they will come out with beautiful proposal and beautiful ideas. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Focused, I would say, panelists, Mr. Satish Sharma personally, and a very experienced expert with us in Dr. Gokhale, and Parul coming from the business background and having seen that coming up. See, there are definite way forward, and I think all the private engineering colleges have an opportunity. Now, we used to have our campuses as knowledge creation centers. Now, convert them into wealth creation centers. Because if you are not making money on the education, you can make money on the ideas that students bring and the enterprises they create by taking an equity like Satish does and ensuring that the enterprise are successful and then cashed out at. No, there is no doubt about the opportunity in India. So if you can catalyze this change in your campuses, I think you would contribute not only to the success of your organization, you would also contribute to the idea of reimagining India as a great country, as a country which enables young people to do whatever they want to do. I think that is the spirit. With this, I would recommend very strongly, lads, to possibly organize a separate days program on how do we go about creating incubation centers and how do we run them with a lot of expert support. Thank you very much, audience. Thank you very much. Thank you.
I would request Dr. Kumar to give the speaker mementos.
You to sell the already next year.
To Professor Satish Sharma, Chairman Maharaja College of Engineering, Udaipur. Dr. Parul Agarwal, Dean G. Last moment, so we might not be having her.
Your organization.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
We would request you all to come forward.
14 years I was in NCR. I worked with builders for fashion technology. That was for 6.5 years.
Thank you.